my goodness! Yeah! Holy sh!
Well, hey there folks, welcome back to the channel. As you can tell by the title, I'm having troubles with my tow rig here that I resurrected a little short while back. I don't know as if this is the kind of video you guys want to watch, but I've been surprised before about some of the views that some of the videos I've put out have gotten, so what the hell, we'll do it anyway. Now then, I don't want to bore you with too long of a story. I don't need to give you every play-by-play of it. Basically, I went to go pick up a trailer for someone. Oh, what was it? About a month ago, I'd say. And on the way there, this thing started giving me trouble. Long story short, it was overfueling, putting too much fuel in the cylinders. I initially thought it was an ignition problem, but yeah, it came down to being too much fuel. Now, the reason I come to this conclusion is that black sport track that I drive, a couple years ago in the winter, it did the same thing. And it was two injectors were, well, I don't know about two, I don't know how many it was, but a couple of the injectors were stuck open. This thing was acting the same way. It would backfire out of the exhaust, blow black smoke out, just run terrible. The tailpipe was all suited up. Got it home here and it's been sitting around in the yard. I've moved it around to mow. And the last two times I moved this, it came out of it. Now obviously, if you think it came out of it, great, it's fixed. Well, no, that's not quite so simple. I was kind of pissed it came out of it. The worst thing to do is to try to diagnose something that comes and goes. But initially I was going to replace the fuel pressure regulator and the oxygen sensor on the exhaust. And then if those didn't fix it, I was going to put new injectors in it, like I had to do with that Sport Track I already mentioned. The Sport Track had a lot more sophisticated self-diagnosis on it, so it kind of led me to it being the injectors. But this does not have that level of advancement. Like I said, was going to do the fuel pressure regulator and the oxygen sensor because those were going to be cheap and easy to do. And then I figured if those didn't fix the problem, then I would do injectors. The injectors from Rock Auto were going to be like $80-some a piece. Obviously, I didn't want to do that if I didn't have to. But like I said, it came out of it, so I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to shotgun parts at it. And those of you who don't know what that term means, it means you just throw a bunch of parts at it hoping it will fix it. Now, back to the injector cost, because like I said, I have to do it all now. I don't want to do part of it and then get going on a trip again and have it act up again. I was doing research on the 460 injectors. I don't know how I got down this rabbit hole, but I did find a video where a guy put injectors from a Ford Taurus, the 3-liter double overhead cam Ford Taurus from the late 90s in his 460. He did a video where he even showed the different spray pattern, and he claimed that he got better mileage, more power, and better throttle response. So I looked those injectors up. Those were still going to be about $400 for all 8 injectors. So yeah, the reason I haven't gotten to this till now, this thing's been sitting at least a month since we got it back home. What's the matter, kitty? Yeah, getting distracted here easily. I was waiting to find some in a junkyard. First time I went to the junkyard, they didn't have any. They had the 3-liter Vulcan engine in some Tauruses, but not the double overhead cam. That's the one you want. Those are different injectors. And there's a year range you have to use. I found, based on pictures I found on Rock Auto and looking at cars in the junkyard, I was looking for a 97 Taurus. Again, with the double overhead cam, 3-liter V6. And the first time I went, nothing. They had stuff that was too new, and the reason the newer stuff won't work is because the plug that plugs into your wiring harness does not work. It's a different setup. I was just at the junkyard a few days ago. They had some fresh inventory in, and they had one 97 Taurus, double overhead cam V6. Of course, there's only 6 injectors there, so I needed 2 cars to source from. But they also had a 98, and some of the 98s I looked at on my first trip, they didn't work. There must have been a mid-year split. This must have been a early 98. It was like the 97, so it had the style plugs that I needed. So I grabbed all those injectors. I'm ready to work on this thing. So as you can see, I've already started working on this. I did a little bit yesterday. I've been kind of down in the back again. All you old guys out there, you understand. I needed something to do yesterday that wasn't too stressful to my back. It was a hot son of a bitch yesterday. I was out here just sweating all over this. But basically all I did was I got the wiring harness pulled out of the way and tucked away, hopefully. What I'm going to try to get done today, if my back will allow it, I'm going to get this fuel rails pulled out, change the injectors, and it's just as easy to do the fuel pressure regulator while the rail is out. It'd be easier access because those are Allen head bolts and they come up from underneath. And I've also discovered apparently my heater hoses have a couple of pinhole leaks in them. You can see right there. And where'd the other one go? Looks to be one right there. I thought, yeah, and then there's one right there. So those are going to need to be replaced. And additionally, before this whole debacle happened with the overfueling, I did take this into the local garage and have an alignment done on it. And ever since that's been done, when I'm turning, there's a thumping underneath. So I need to investigate what the hell that is all about. And maybe a power steering leak. The guy at the shop told me when he did the alignment that the box is leaking. I don't think it's the box. I think it might be the pump, or at least the return line going from the box to the pump. Now, from what I can see, it looks like there are 4 bolts holding that fuel rail in. There's one back here, one here, and one there. Still had a little pressure in her. Alrighty, everything is out. Got my oxygen sensor, new fuel pressure regulator, made in USA at least, so I guess that's got that going for it. There's the old one. Here's the injectors that came out of it. Now, from what I understand, that video that I found, the guy explained there were 2 generations of 460 injectors. This is the 2nd generation. There, I think it's showing up. You can see there's 4 injector holes in that. The earlier ones only had 1 injector hole. These are the ones out of the Taurus, 3-liter double overhead cam. As you can see, hopefully, plug is the same, length is the same. These also have a 4-hole injector. Like I said, the guy claimed he got better mileage, better power, and better throttle response to these, so I hope he's right. It looks like I've got 1, 2, 3 O-rings to round up that must have stuck in the fuel rail. All the bottom O-rings appeared to have stayed with the injectors, so I better go round those up and we'll start putting all this back together. Alright, this is interesting. I fished out 4 O-rings when I should only have found 3. Did I miscount here? 1, 2, 3. No, there should only be 3. What the hell happened here? Somebody's obviously been in there before and didn't get one out. I'm going to guess it's this one here that has that crease in it. Interesting. Anyway, we'll put that behind us and get back to work. I figure I better do this first, otherwise I'll get to wrestling with the injectors and forget all about it. Well, I gotta go take a break. It's not because of my back, it's because all of a sudden I gotta poop. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I don't remember eating gravel, but that sure felt like what was coming out of me. Anyway, back to work. So I know there's special stuff you're supposed to use for these O-rings, but I'm just using some petroleum jelly. I don't know if that's good or bad. I've never done that before. When I did the Sport Track injectors a couple years ago, I just sprayed the O-rings down with some penetrating oil, and that seemed to be okay. I don't know, it just seems poetic to put the petroleum jelly on these because you're putting them in a bunghole. All right. Okay, so this is the intake tubing from the air filter to the throttle body over there. I am ashamed that I missed this when I got this truck revived. I knew that these were in here and you should cut them out. These restrict the airflow. I believe these are to muffle or baffle the sound of air sucking through here, which I don't think I'm going to hear anyway, but that's just a common tactic with these. Lop them little trumpets off. Sounds pretty good. I can't tell that the throttle response is any snappier, but you know, I'll have to drive it for that. Well, even though it didn't run very long, I'm going to give it a little time to cool off. While that's doing that, I'm going to do something about these hoses. I've noticed that it only seems to be this one with the pinholes in it. I think what I'm going to do, seeing as how it's still summer, as you can tell, because I'm working with my shirt off, I'm going to unhook the one from up there and just loop it back over onto this and get rid of this for a few months anyway, till the weather starts cooling off. As rusty as this thing was inside, it's probably full of rust or corroded through. It doesn't seem to be leaking through into the cab yet, but yeah, it might be a good idea just to go ahead and change it with the amount of filth that was in this engine. Well, I didn't show you the process of changing out the oxygen sensor because I don't have room to get my camera underneath there. I'm struggling enough as it is. This is kind of what I was afraid of. I've run into this many times before, taking oxygen sensors out of vehicles this old. It messes up the threads, as you can see there. Luckily, I was able to get the new oxygen sensor threaded in, a little bit of penetrating oil on the threads of the bung, and it went in without, with some effort, but not terrible. I was kind of expecting this to happen, so I did order 2 oxygen sensors, and in the shop I already have a couple of extra bungs for welding into exhaust for just such an occasion when this doesn't work out worth a damn. But this time it worked out okay. Not great, but okay. Thing's been running less than, 3 minutes. I came up here to drop off some wheels, and it's already back to doing it again. This is why I didn't want to spend all that money on new injectors. Alright, as usual, not surprisingly, it's been a few weeks since I worked on the truck. That doesn't mean there's been nothing going on with it. We'll cover that right now. Prepare to be bored. Now, I put some thought into it as far as some other things that could affect the air-fuel ratio and make the engine run that crappy. I've decided I was going to order a MAF sensor. Yeah, not MAP. Wait a minute, is it? Yeah, it is MAP. Yeah, MAP sensor. The one that goes up on the firewall. A coolant temperature sensor and the input air sensor, temperature sensor, because those can all affect the fuel ratio. Got some things going on here in case anybody remembers this project. I got the parts ordered. I didn't really need the truck. I haven't needed to tow anything. My back's been messed up to where I'm not doing any of that stuff anyway. Blah, blah, blah. I'm boring you with my life story. Now, you're probably wondering why not just put a code reader on it. Well, I've got a multitude of reasons that I won't bore you with. Basically, what it all comes down to is we've already been shotgunning parts at this damn truck. Let's just soldier on with that plan, shall we? But before we do so, I want to talk about the truck was sitting in the yard over there and I needed to mow the yard. No big deal, I'll fire it up and move it. Even though it runs like crap, it always runs good enough to move. This time it didn't. I had a hell of a time getting it started once. Once I finally did get it started, it did not have enough power to move itself and it died. I never could get it to run after that. One thing I did notice, when the key on, the fuel pump would continue to run, which it should not do. On these Fords, you should turn the key on, the pump will run for a few seconds, and then shut off until you start cranking the engine again. The pump ran constantly. Now, I didn't have the parts yet at that point. I did a little research on what causes that. Because, yeah, none of these sensors that I bought or have done anything so far should have any effect on that fuel pump. And what I found was apparently, I'm not going to say it's a common problem, but it's not unusual. The computers in these, the brain box, the ECU, the ECM, whatever you want to call it, there are, I think they were called diodes. Pardon me, I'm not an electronologist. But there's something in there that goes bad. There's 3 of them. And that will cause the fuel pump to run, which is probably also causing it to do all this other weird stuff that it's doing. So this is your map sensor right here. Basically, it measures the amount of vacuum in the intake and sends that measurement value to the computer. Got me a good genuine Motorcraft one. He's kind of pricey compared to the Chinesium ones, but nothing's too good for my projects. You folks know that. All right, let's see how she feels about life now. Yeah, I don't know if the camera's picking it up. That pump should not be running like that. It should only run for a couple seconds. When I turn the key off, it shuts down. Should not be doing that. Anyway, let's see if she runs. Nope. Oh. Well, let's not kill the battery. Yeah, pump's still running. Even though I don't think it's going to help, I've got the other 2 sensors. I'll put them in just because, yeah, they're already bought. Just as well try them. These were the cheap ones anyway. That map sensor was the expensive one. All right, there's the old temperature sensor. Now, this is not the sensor that sends a signal to the gauge. This is the sensor that communicates with the brain box. Here's the air intake charge sensor. As you can see, it's a little nasty, but I still don't think that's going to be the problem. There's the coolant temperature one, and there is the air intake temperature. Pretty easy to get to once I got the intake tube out of the way. I'll button it back up and we'll see what happens. All right, all back together. Let's see how she feels about life now. Oop, keys. Yeah, a little better, but still not good. Still not perfect. Still running rich. I was just picking it up on that camera, but I can sure see the black smoke coming out of there. And the way the engine's just flopping around in there. About 33, 34 pounds of fuel pressure at idle. It occurred to me that I'd never checked that yet. I don't think that's the problem. Alright, the pressure doesn't seem terrible, maybe a little low from what couple minutes research I've done, but not terrible. I don't think it's low pressure anyway, by the way. It's blowing black smoke out the exhaust. we are going to tear into that computer. Remove it, open it up, see if there's anything obvious in there that I can tell. But I'm not trained in that kind of stuff. But we're going to take a look anyway, because I'll do more research on the fuel pressure issue. But for now, I just want to look at that computer, because I suspect that's what the problem is. So on this is a 93. There's your computer right there. You unplug it from this side of the firewall. Then you come around to the inside, pull this kick panel out, and the computer's mounted right in there. Well, I hope I'm wrong about what I told you, because right now all this bracketry for the emergency brake pedal is in the way. The computer is in there, but I don't think you access it from this side on this particular model. After giving it a little more looking over, it looks like I should be able to pull this bolt and the one down below and then pull the computer out this way. I don't know. That looks like it's going to be a tight squeeze. Anyway, we'll see. It's out. In order to get enough room down in there, I had to unbolt the fender, the inner fender liner, and even still at that, it got into the wiring harness right here. It was a bit of a struggle, but it's out. The pins look pretty clean from what I can tell with my old man eyesight, but this is of some concern. Mouse nest. And anybody who's dealt with mouse nests know that mice will piss everywhere. So if there's been mice pissing on this thing, it's going to be corroded inside. Let's open it up and see. Even without the mouse factor, yeah, from what I've read, those diodes or whatever inside here that go bad, they are generally believed to have a lifespan of 15 to 20 years. Okay, so initially it looked pretty good. Once I got it out here in the sunlight, these right here, this one, and this one is what I was supposed to look at. Like I said, I don't remember if they're resistors. I think they're diodes. I could be wrong. Again, I don't know about this kind of crap. But anyway, looking at this one closely, yeah, looks like there's some leakage going on there causing a little corrosion. Also, if I can find it, yeah, that's not looking good either. This one over here looks okay. Now, I cannot solder to save my life. I can do crude, basic soldering, but fine soldering like this, no, I cannot do it. Never have been able to. Never been able to solder a radiator to do repairs, solder wires together, anything like this. There is a computer repair store in town. I'm going to run it into town, hand it off to him, see what he can do with it. He surely knows what these pieces are and what he can do with it. I'm told that these diodes, again, I don't know, I don't remember, I'd have to look it up. I'm told that they're pretty cheap and easy to replace, but from the video I watched, yeah, I don't have that kind of a fine solder on. And again, I just can't do that kind of stuff. I'm just too ham-fisted for that. I'll take it to a professional. Hopefully this will fix my problem. Well, folks, it's been, I would say, roughly another month now. It is late October, as you can see by the foliage behind me. Hold on. Is it there? Maybe not. Oh, there it is. Excuse me. Anyway, look what I got. The guy in town did not want to mess with it. So what happened, I put the word out to friends, family, and colleagues that I was looking for someone to solder this, seeing as how that guy wouldn't do it. Got a couple offers, and I was going to go that route. So I started looking up the parts to have someone else try it for me. You know, I was still concerned that the circuit board, like I showed you, had some damage. And in the process of trying to find the parts, I found a place over in Illinois, SIA Electronics. This is their specialty. This is what they do. They take these computer PCMs and they test them and they repair them. It was $175, $179 to have that done. I figured it was well worth the money to send it to them, have them throw their expertise at it to tell me if it was even worth trying to repair. It obviously was. They've sent it back to me. Now, in that month where I've been waiting for this, I have been busy. I didn't do all this at once. This was a miserable, filthy, nasty chore of a job getting all that rusty skin off of there. Would I do it again? Hell no. I would just go find another flatbed. I have like 6 afternoons worth of work into doing this. And like I said, I didn't do it all at once. I'd do some, wait a few days, do some more, wait a week, do some more. It was just that nasty and tedious of a job. But anyway, I'm ready to do that. But first, let's throw that PCM in, see if she's gonna run. As you can see, I've clearly parked it underneath a power line so it could collect the maximum amount of bird shit. Right here. Replaced capacitors and 2 corroded traces. I'm assuming the corroded traces were the circuit board that I was actually concerned about. Well, I gotta admit, I did want to pop it open just to see the repairs, but warranty void if seal is broken. If I remember right, it is a lifetime warranty on the repair on it. All right, it is back in there. It went in much easier than it came out for some odd reason. Let's see. Still got some battery power. Let's see what the old truck thinks. Not enough battery power though. All right, we'll be right back after a message from our oh, that's right, I don't have any sponsors. Yeah, I got the sport track pulled up here. Let's let this charge for a while. While it's doing that, let me go show you something I'm just a little bit ashamed of. Now, not the van. I'm not ashamed of this van. I bought this van for $700. Oh geez, probably 10 years ago, maybe more than that. $460. I have more than got my money's worth out of this van. The van has treated me very well. It's had a few problems, nothing major. It was just getting really tired. That was the whole point in having the gray truck over there. The van was getting really tired. It just didn't have the power it used to. And every once in a while the transmission would do some weird stuff. So it was starting to make me a little leery. Now the gray truck, as you know if you watched the video, I bought it for parts and then decided to get it running. And it would be kind of a stopgap. Use it for towing until I have a 93 F350 crew cab dually. I was going to put a Cummins in it. You know, the gray truck was supposed to do duty until I had that truck ready to go. But then the gray truck broke down. Now, unless you want to count that lawnmower that I bought a couple years ago, my 17 loyal viewers out there might remember that one. I just got sick of fighting with that old 70s model zero turn that I had. It just got to the point where I was working on it every time I tried to mow the yard. I was fed up. This was kind of the same thing. One of the factors anyway. Now, I have never, other than that mower, bought a new vehicle in my life. But now I have this 2024 F250. Yeah, I'm not proud of it. Various things conspired. One was, yeah, just needing a tow rig. I was just kind of tired of messing around with stuff. It would be nice to have something new and hopefully reliable that I could just hop in and go. And you know, for going on longer trips especially, where you're hoping it's going to be reliable, comfortable. It's got air conditioning, which I haven't had in years, in a tow rig anyway. Another thing, I'd kind of been trying to save money to get property to move out of here. I own this place. I like the place itself. We won't go too far, delve into why I don't want to live here anymore. It just has to do with someone who bought some land next to me and has seriously cut back on my quality of life. Because, well, never mind. But anyway, the cost of land going up was far outpacing my meager ability to save money. So I figured take some of that money, make a down payment, get me a hopefully reliable tow rig. And plus, yeah, going to swap meets, been riding around with my buddies in their fancy new crew cabs. Thought it's time I, took my turn, so to speak. Now then, I went looking for a stripped down model. I didn't want lots of doodads and gewgaws in it to go wrong. This is just the straight up XLT. I had to get the XLT to get the tremor package. That was the one thing I did want. This and the 7.3 gasser engine. I did not want a diesel. I don't like diesels, and I especially damn sure don't like modern diesels. They're expensive to buy and they're expensive to maintain. Girlfriend keeps asking me if I'm in love with the truck yet. No, I like it. It's cool and all that, but I'm not in love with it. Especially the payments. Now, you might remember when I did the video on the gray truck, how I talked about I didn't need a four-wheel drive to tow my junk down a paved road. So why did I feel the need to get the tremor package? Because that was one of the things I did want. Well, I figure if I'm going to get this far in debt on a vehicle, I just will get something that has, a package that I want, and that's the tremor package. It has a electric locking rear differential, 35-inch tires, special alloy wheels. I think the running boards here are specific to the tremor. It has special shocks, limited slip front, and the axle gearing is 430. There might be more to the package than that. I know the older ones, this one may not be the case, but the older ones had a spot you could mount a winch on the bumper. I don't know if that's the case with this one. I bought it back in August, not long after that gray truck broke down. Shopped around, like I said, I wanted a stripped down model, but I wanted a tremor. The next cheapest one I could find was like $23,000 more than this one. And it was a platinum. And I shopped around in states surrounding Iowa, and yeah, this was the only stripped down tremor I could find. So I jumped on it. So I don't know, I haven't done the thumbnail yet, but I was thinking about calling this video Tow Rig Troubles ×2. Well, what's the 2? Well, this one obviously, there's the trouble of making the monthly payment, but you remember how I said a little bit ago I'd never bought a new vehicle in my life, unless you want to count the lawnmower. Well, I've never had to make an insurance claim in my life either. And now that has changed. I shit you not, 170 miles. 170 miles. I had the thing 2 days when this happened. But anyway, this thing is going to the body shop today. As I said, I bought this back in August. It is late October now. I've got a little over 6,000 miles on it. We took it family vacation out of Texas. I've drove to a few swap meets with it, but yeah, she's going in for body work already. Oh yeah, here's another problem with it. While we were down in Texas on vacation, somebody tried breaking into it. They scarred up the handle there. You can see where they got, can't get in there. I'll turn the camera a little bit. Yeah, it looks like they tried getting in there and grabbing it with channel locks and twisting the handle off. So now the key does not fit in there because they've twisted it enough. I'm gonna have to have the body shop take a look at that too. I don't know, I'm kind of proud of the truck and kind of ashamed that I actually, bought a new vehicle. Because yeah, I'm supposed to be doing stuff on a low budget. But I guess there's plenty of other channels out there doing the same thing, have a fancy tow rig and going around dragging home crap. I guess if anything, this puts me on a tighter budget with my projects now that I have this truck payment to make. So you can look at that as a plus for my content, if that's what you're into. I'm pretty happy with the 7.3 so far. I've towed with it twice, haven't pulled the gooseneck yet. That's going to be another issue that I might talk about, but it's done fine. No problems there. Yeah, leaps and bounds better than anything I've had in a long time. The gooseneck, because the bed is so much taller on this, I'm going to have to do something, either get a different gooseneck trailer or redo the tongue on my gooseneck. I haven't tried it yet, but of course there's no hitch in it yet either. That's something else I'm going to be doing. But yeah, I don't think the gooseneck hitch is going to be tall enough to fit over the bed sides on this thing. And this thing is just one huge blind spot. You'd think I'd be used to driving a big vehicle after driving that van for years. No, this thing, everything is just so tall on it. And you'd think you're going to be looking down on stuff. Yeah, you don't know where the front corner is on the nose. I'll park somewhere and get out and look, and I've had plenty of room. I can get a lot closer, but just being cautious. And yeah, the bed sides are so tall. Yeah, I can't stress this enough. This thing is just one huge blind spot. I've already bought the gooseneck hitch for it. You're probably wondering why I just don't make my own. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right taking a nice new truck like that and grinding and welding on the frame and making a hitch out of scrap metal. I bought a hitch that you should be able to install from underneath without taking the bed off, but I already checked with the body shop Once they have the bed off, I'm going to run down there and put the hitch on from above with the bed out of the way. Why not? It'll be so much easier. One of the small reasons we went to Texas on vacation, we went down to South Padre Island, and then I picked up these bumpers in San Antonio. These are going to be going on it once it comes back from the body shop. Again, I could have made these, but yeah, time and plus, yeah, I know how I would have been. I could have got the bumper made, and then I probably would have totally neglected to paint it, and it would have just like total ass on that new truck. So I'm okay with spending a little money, you know, try to keep something nice, if you know what I mean. Let's see if she's charged up enough to start now. Sounds good. Running smooth. Clean at the tailpipe, looks like. Might just be back in business. Now you might be wondering, why am I even messing with this? I got a new tow rig. Well, for two reasons. Drive this one here locally, save putting miles on the new one. But more importantly, this truck is just too damn much fun to drive. Fuel injected big block and a 5-speed 410 rear end. This is a hot rod truck that can do work. I love driving this truck. It just really connects with me. Test drive's going awesome. Yes indeed, 'tis a fine truck. This truck has personality, unlike that new one. Man, it feels good to just be rolling my own gears too. I believe she is a little peppier with those V6 injectors in it. Real test will be next weekend. Supposed to go wheeling. I'll pretty much have to use this as a tow rig, because as I said before, the other one will be in the body shop. That's okay. I was always planning on using this one for closer to home trips. Yeah, she's fun. So earlier in the video I talked about how I got this thing aligned and it was making a thumping noise now. Well, there's the problem there. The guy that aligned it pointed the bolts up towards hitting that. Easy enough fix. Now I'm going to be investigating this power steering leak. Ouch, that hook really hurts when it hits your knee. Yeah, it's going to be tough to see in there. Alright, go ahead. Right out of that road down there. I don't know how well it was showing on that video with all the smoke and stuff in the way, but where it's coming from is right out of this crimp here. Some of it's spraying over there on the exhaust manifold, and other of it's spraying straight down into there. That should be an easy enough fix as well. All better, ready to put it back to work now. Gonna go do some wheeling today. Towing the gooseneck, 2 rigs, big buggy, Explorer. Waiting on them to finish up a few things on their rig over there. Still need to reskin the bed, obviously. So here I am at the body shop, getting my gooseneck hitch on. Oh yeah, right there. Anyway, it was a Kurt 60702. It is on. It took way longer than it should have. Seems beefy enough. I think it'll be fine. My 2 issues with it were the instructions were a little vague. They could have done a better job labeling the parts and explaining the instructions. I finally just had to revert to looking at the pictures. Doing this from above, I am so glad I did this. Only thing I've left to do once I get the bed back on it and I get it home, drill the holes there for the actual ball to go through and then the safety chains. But yeah, if I'd have done this at home, I would have been a cussing, fuming, tool-throwing asshole instead of just my usual asshole self. By the instructions, what I understood, you're supposed to put these plates in, and then these 4 plates here, and then bring this up underneath and put in all these carriage bolts. Obviously, you leave everything loose until everything's in place. But even with everything loose, I could not get most of these bolts to line up to save my life. So what I ended up doing was just taking all of these bolts out over here, so everything had more motion. And then I was able to get all the well, not four, there's what, 12 of these carriage bolts. I got all those in, tightened up, and then went back and did all these. And there's kind of a, yeah, you kind of want to tighten these, and then these, and then the cross bolts to go through here. But anyway, it's done. Only other issue I'm seeing is this is pretty tight in here with this wiring harness. It was crunching it pretty good. I kind of alleviated that a bit by getting on there and bending that bracket down a bit. And thankfully there's a plastic sleeve over that, so it might be something I have to keep an eye on over time. First piece fitted up. Let's see here. There's going to be a problem. It took more time cleaning again to get ready to weld. This is going to be a problem right in here because I'll be welding in there, and that seam is going to be bubbling out rust. I won't be running the whole length of it, just every so often put a bead. And got this going on here for two reasons. Number one, I could not get into this corner to clean all that out. And number two, it does provide a good opportunity. It's kind of dark showing it right now, but there you can see. It provides a hole there because, as you can see, this whole truck slopes nose down. So any rainwater and snow melt and whatnot's going to run to the front, and that will give it drain on each side along with other little debris. Big problem I'm having, these sheets here were about perfect for going widthwise. I just had to trim off, what, an inch. Unfortunately, I only have 7 of those. 7 is not going to be enough. That's going to get me to about, I'm going to come up about 6 inches short. Probably what I'm going to do, not sure yet, maybe put 2 more here and then start at the back and then go in and then see what I have to do to fill in, because obviously I don't need a full sheet right in here where this ball is going to be. But at any rate, not enough for those to do the job. Got plenty more, some smaller pieces here. Don't you fret none. We'll get something figured out. Right now, I got to go inside and clean up. Taking the sweetie cakes out for date tonight. So later, fartwads. Alrighty, I'm back out here at it again the next day. I think I might have got a solution figured out to my fitment. Managed to round up enough pieces to confirm that I do have enough properly sized pieces to get the job done. Back to work. Time to do some welding finally. Well, as I predicted, some of these welds were a little spattery thanks to the rust in that seam, and there's also a little bit of moisture in there. This truck sat out in the rain for like 2 days before I pulled it in here. It was weird. This one didn't do too bad in this corner, but that corner over there was apparently full of water, because after I laid down that bead, I could just hear the water in that pipe, tube, whatever, just boiling. Even though they're already split, maybe I should go ahead and drill a little hole in each one of these to let the rainwater out. It's completely open up there. Enough with the yakking. Time to lay down some more. Well, that's going to have to do it for this afternoon, probably. I need to run in town, do some errands. As you know, towns where everybody hates you, kids all try to beat you up. Maybe I can get back out there and get some more done on it this afternoon, but I doubt it. 3 pieces in. I did make a couple of concessions for safety, which I normally don't do, but I have had a gas tank blow up in my face before, and it was not fun. Down there where the sending unit was, I got some pieces of wet carpet over it, and instead of welding this with the filler neck there, I went and took the filler neck apart and tucked it up underneath, because I was afraid there could be some venting fumes coming out of that. Later, fartwads. As usual, it's been another week. Let me show you why. So I got home that afternoon from doing my errands in town. I thought, what the hell, I'll come out here and just start ripping all these into the proper size pieces. I got this cut partway through and it started getting a very nasty cut. Okay, that'll happen. Time to replace the consumables in the torch tip, which I did. But then in the process of doing that, the threads on this piece that attach it to the guard here, I believe that's called a guard, I don't know. Anyway, this piece broke. Had to order a new one, came in yesterday, get back to work. Now I'm not gonna bore you giving you footage of cutting out every one of these pieces. I'm just gonna do it and show you the finished results. I think you get the idea of what's going on here already. Also, during that week where I couldn't do anything, obviously I have so many projects, I had plenty of other stuff to do while I wasn't in a big toot over finishing this. But as you can see behind me, Mr. Cody Brandt brought me some more steel to use. There is a very large usable piece here. That would be handy to use, but I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with my original plan of using these and then filling it in with some smaller pieces. What do you think, kitty? Come here, kitty. Get some pettings, yeah. This was my mom's cat. She passed away last spring, so it's our cat now. Everybody else here calls her Priscilla. Or wait a minute, I call her Priscilla. Everybody else here calls her Charlotte. I don't know, she just seems like more of a Priscilla to me. What do you think? All right, so it's not welded down. I just got all the pieces cut and put in place. Ended up with a couple of gaps here I'm not real happy with. But I can fix that with the welder. As you can see, it's getting dark out. I think what I'm going to do with the rest of my time this evening, I still have some more cleanup to do on the back of this flatbed frame before I can weld. Been a couple more days now. Yesterday I got all of the skin on the bed and welded from the top side. There she be. Got these pieces cut out here and here. There are going to be some side rails. But first, I think today, this afternoon, I'm going to go ahead and pull the bed off, flip it over, and weld everything I can from the bottom. These cross members under here are just in the totally wrong spot. You're fighting with the frame, the cross members, and everything to try to get in there and weld everything. I got enough tack welds in there to hold everything in place. It's just going to be a lot easier to take the time to take the bed off and weld everything from the bottom. The only thing holding on is 6 bolts and 2 plugs for the wiring. All right, about a third of the way done here. I think you see what I'm doing here. Well, maybe you can't see. Da-da-da-da. Welding it to the flatbed framework and then going through and doing the seams where all the pieces came together, but I'm not doing one continuous bead. This will be good enough. Was hoping to get this done before dark and get it back on the truck, but as is typical, that's not going to happen. So if you'll excuse me, I got a lot more welding to do. Alrighty, it is all done. Obviously dark out. I'll put this back on the truck tomorrow. I'm going to knock these mounts off of here because those might be handy to have for something else. And then I'm going to take my sorry ass up to the house, get ready for work. All right, there she is, welded up back on the truck. I did make this cover for the gooseneck hole. It has just some scrap pieces that are welded diagonally in here. As you can see, bolts on. I doubt it'll get used very often, but at least I'll have the option. These side rails, I'm not crazy about them. Not at all. They kind of like the front bumper. These turned out looking not quite as good as I'd hoped. I guess if I was to redo it, and I'm not going to because I'm getting sick of this whole flatbed refurbishment project. I just want it to be done, so I'm just going to push forward with this. But if I was going to redo it, I would probably break out the bender, just curve this down the corner, and I'm not sure what I would do up here. But like I said, it doesn't matter. I'm pushing forward because I want this thing done. Damn, me and the welder seem to be getting along pretty good today. So, in retrospect, now that I have both sides on, I think it looks actually pretty decent. I don't know why, I suppose the one side on it just looked unbalanced. I suppose this is the part where I'm supposed to play some upbeat, inspirational music and pan dramatically around the whole vehicle, but I'm not gay, despite what you might have heard. Now, I know I said earlier in this video that I would not do this again. I'm not so sure now. I don't really have much in this. Sure, the steel cost me some money, but these were cast-offs from a local factory I got pretty cheap. Grinding wheels, consumables, welding wire, electricity, time. Oh my God, the time I have in this is incredible. But, you know, at the end, anybody out there that fabricates like me, you get done with the job and you look back and you look at this and say, I did this. I didn't buy this, I built this. So there's that kind of satisfaction. Plus, yeah, the truck I showed you earlier that I bought, this was a good viable option for me because I got a monthly truck payment to make now instead of going out and buying another flatbed. Obviously, I wouldn't buy a brand new one, but there's plenty of them out there on Facebook Marketplace. So would I do it again? I don't know. Hopefully the opportunity never happens for me to have to make that decision again, but I'm not so sure that I wouldn't do it again. Well, the bed's done. So if you'll excuse me, I'm going to reconnect this wiring. I do have a tack that I bought for this at a swap meet. I'm going to try to get that installed. And the blower motor, while it does work, it needs to move more air. As you can tell, the weather's getting colder because I'm not out here welding in nothing but sandals and shorts. So I need to address those issues, hopefully with the daylight I have left today. So once again, it's the next day. And once again, last night, I ran out of time before I got this done. Started looking into the blower issue. Why it wasn't moving much hot air. I could give you a play-by-play of what I did, but let me just save us all some time here and show you what I ended up finding. Now it's not going to show, but down here in this blower housing, down in here, it was just jam-packed full of this pink house insulation. That's mice for you. Anyway, I did check out the blower. It blows beautifully. And in the process of cleaning this out, I used a combination of pulling it out with my hands, a shop vac, and compressed air. But I thought, just to be thorough, I went ahead and pulled out the heater core so I could get down in through here and clean that out as well. Now the airflow has to go through this AC coil, no matter what, even if you're using the heat. Looks like I've got it cleaned out, near as I can tell. If that doesn't work, I guess that means there's a bunch of that fiberglass insulation jammed into the fins that I can't see, deep enough that I can't see it. Visibility is not real good. You just get a little cube of it right here, and from the other side you can just kind of see a very narrow side profile. But anyway, if this doesn't get me some good heat going, I will find a way to delicately slice this housing open and just remove the whole AC coil and then just seal the housing back up. Because I don't see me ever putting air conditioning back on this truck anyway. I'm going to put this back together this afternoon and hopefully call this truck done until something else happens to it. Alright, the heat is working pretty damn good in the old truck here. I believe I got everything straightened out. I've been driving it. I really enjoy driving this truck. It just clicks with me. The mileage is no better with all the modifications. I don't know if it's the injectors, the different injectors, but it might actually, if I'm being honest, be a little bit worse. One other thing I haven't mentioned, which I will now, last time I was towing with it, when we were coming home, of course it was dark, and as we were going up hills, there were some of them it couldn't pull in fifth gear, pulling those two vehicles on the gooseneck, and I'd have to downshift. And when I go to downshift, it would backfire out the exhaust. So I don't know if that's those injectors still overfueling it just a little bit, and it's building up in the exhaust, and then somehow it's sparking it when you go to downshift. I don't know. It was kind of fun, actually, in the dark, that flash of light out the side. But maybe someday, if I have the time and have nothing better to do, right, I might go ahead and put the original injectors back in it just to try it. But for now, I'm calling this truck done. About the only thing I can think of that needs right now is new wipers. Let's move on to the new truck. It's been home from the body shop for close to 2 weeks now. I got to get bumpers on it and finish up the hitch. All good as new, as you can see. The only issue I saw was when I drove it home, this cap on the bed, I could see it flapping in the wind. I called the body shop about it, and they said that was a really common problem. The tabs, when you try to remove these, they break off. They did go ahead and order me a new one. I told them to leave the rear bumper off because I had an aftermarket one I was going to put on. So let's get started with that. I also have to drill the hole in the bed for the gooseneck ball. Alright, so I had some fears that the little alignment plug that goes in there that tells you where to drill your pilot hole, I was fearing that that might have fell out, but it is in there. There, you see it? Here's the bigger problem. That hitch is so thick, I don't think my drill bit's gonna reach. Have to try and see. Alright, looks pretty well centered. Near as I can tell from the angle I'm at. Alright, looks like it left some of that plastic right there. The plastic was on top of this ring. I thought it looked like the bed was bulged up ever so slightly here. Maybe I can get that pushed out of there. Yeah, maybe it's moving. Yeah. I'm sure it'll work itself out of there eventually anyway, as the bed vibrates going down the road. pop. Yeah. Well, the instructions and the kit came with like a little rubber piece that you would actually slip over the exposed edge of the bed, but that ain't gonna happen here. Oh well, good enough for me. I'm actually strongly considering getting this whole bed rhino lined. Looks like that ring actually sticks up through the bed floor about what, 1/16th, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. So here's all the brackets that came with the bumper. Again, the instructions were kind of like the hitch, a little on the vague side, but at least the hitch had illustrations, but this doesn't seem like it's going to be that hard to figure out. Looks like it comes with 2 different sets of brackets. They're punched D for driver's side and P for passenger side. I assume that's what they mean, and I guess it's up to the installer to determine which bracket is going to work for your truck. These look like some sort of a little support bracket that's going to go right in here. I'm going to get these old factory brackets off and decide which ones are going to work best for me. Alright, well that sucked. Getting the old brackets off wasn't so bad, except for the bolt that was in this position. The factory one, man, that was a tight son of a bitch, and it fought the whole way out. As you can see, I'm losing my daylight. It doesn't look like it when I look through my phone, but trust me, it is getting dark out. The hardware that came with this, I am not impressed with it at all. The only bolt that was suitable was the one right here on this bracket. I reused these bolts from the factory ones because they were just much more robust than these chintzy little things. I had to go in and dig around in my bolt bins and find 2 of these. One for each side, because again, I did not want to use, I don't think these are even 1/2 inch. They're some sort of metric. They're smaller than 1/2 inch. But I'm running out of daylight and I'm doing this outside, so I'll have to continue this tomorrow. But not just for the daylight, but look at this. That's what I need. That's what I want. This is what the company sent. And yeah, even with the washer there, that's a chintzy little washer. So I'm going to run to town tomorrow, because I had a hell of a time just finding 2 of these with nuts. I don't know if that is a 9/16 or 5/8, but I definitely need something better than what came with it. So it is the next day. I've got a kitty out here helping me. I got bolts. I got both 5/8 and 1/2 inch. Initially I was just going to get the 5/8, but I investigated the bumper, and the slots on the bumper itself are vertical. So I went ahead and got some 1/2 inches in case there was a misalignment issue that would need the smaller bolts. More importantly than that, I got some real washers for either size bolt. But right now, I'm finding myself with the almost irresistible urge to put a big old gusset right in here on this bracket. I don't know if I'll be able to resist that urge or not. Seems like it would make that bracket a hell of a lot stronger. Run it. Yeah, right in between these, on the back side obviously, over to here. A nice big piece of, I don't know, 3/8 or 1/2 inch plate. I'll go see what I got to do that with and think it over. Sure would like to just get this bumper on here, but if I can make it stronger before I put it on, why not? That's what I'm talking about. All right, that seems much better to me. Now hopefully that won't come back to bite me in the ass. I can't foresee any reason why it would, but you never know. It's happened before. I've done something and then started assembling and like, oh shit. Anyway, it's time to try to get that bumper on there. I kind of have a dilemma as to how to get that thing up there. Really, there's not a good way to lift it. Best way to do it would be to have 3 people, 2 people holding it up, 1 person underneath putting bolts in, but I think I've got an idea. Well, that went relatively smooth. I just got the 2 bolts in on the top on each side. That's all I need to get started. Alright, so that's as high as I can get it. I'm not crazy about this gap here, but I can loosen up the mounting bolts and slide the whole bumper forward a little, which I believe I will do. I should be able to get that done here before it gets totally dark. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. You know what I am going to miss though? The factory bumper had those steps in it right here, and those were extremely handy. I still got the ones at the front of the bed. The thing I don't like about those, when you swing your leg around here, you're going to end up potentially kicking the sheet metal trying to find the step. I think what I might do is put some of those metal folding steps right in here. It'll just flip down and up. But anyway, I'm going to get this thing adjusted where I want it. I'm losing my daylight as usual. So it is the next afternoon. It is Thanksgiving Day, so happy Thanksgiving to you, although you'll probably be seeing this in April at the rate I put out videos. But anyway, I got started on the front bumper. What are you running for, Cat? I was getting started on the front bumper here. So far, the instructions are really good. These mounting brackets are very stout, but yeah, I'm still coming up very unimpressed with the mounting hardware. The same stuff, these little, just slightly smaller than 1/2 inch metric, but yeah, look at that. 5H for the win. That's kind of why I wanted to get out here and get after this before dark, because I'm going to be going around hopefully getting a Black Friday deal on an air compressor tomorrow, and while I'm at the hardware store, I guess I'll be picking up more 5/8 grade 8 bolts. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and keep going with these, just to get familiar with how this all works and fits up. Alright, I got the winch tray here. Now I could have got this bumper in a version without a winch mount, but I did pay the extra because I've got all these swap meet winches I've been buying. This one is a 12,000 pound, if you remember. Those 17 of you, of my faithful viewers. Last summer at Springfield, Missouri, I got 3 winches at a swap meet. This is a 12,000 pound Warren. I know the motor is bad in it at least. I wanted to test fit this to make sure it would fit. I should have been on this and had this thing ready to put in, but you know how it is. Somebody honking off in the distance. Probably some deer in the road. I just wanted to make sure it fit. Now I'm just going to put the winch in the shop so it's in my way, so I'll be reminded to fix it. So once again, it is the next day. Plenty of time today. It's just a little past noon now, so I can surely get that bumper on today. Just got back from town. It is Black Friday, so like $47 worth of grade 8 5/8 bolts. But at least I saved a little bit there due to the Black Friday sale they were having. So here's a look at it in the daylight. Nice beefy 9/16 bolts bristling out of it everywhere. I did have to drill this hole in the frame. It was in the bracket, but for some reason the factory frame didn't have it. But it was probably overkill doing that, but it was easy to get to, so why not? And I had the hardware already. I know I said I was wanting to get this on before dark. Yes, time is getting away from me as usual. I've gotten pulled away from this project a couple of times, but I think I'm ready to go grab the bumper and do a trial fit. Well, there we go. It's finally on there. I got everything cranked down. One thing left to do is I got to add the wiring harness for the fog lights. That should be pretty simple. We'll take a look at the rear here before it gets dark. Got all the wiring and everything done on the rear. Did that out here last night in the dark with a trouble light, and my hands were numb. One thing I am going to do next time I got the doorway cleared to the shop, I've got this bracket cleaned off. I'll get in here with the grinder, clean up this, and add a couple of beads of weld. I'll just tie the bumper mount into the hitch. And if I ever did need to remove the hitch or the bumper mount, it shouldn't be that hard to grind that weld off. I'm not going to weld the whole thing, just about an inch on each end. Now, what do I think of these bumpers? Well, I must say, even though I didn't follow the instructions to a T, one of the things I really went off the tracks, it told you to leave all the bumper brackets loose until everything was bolted up. I didn't do that, front or rear. Once I had the bumper brackets on, I cranked those bastards down because it just looked like it was going to be much easier to do without the bumper in the way. Even doing that, all the bolt holes lined up beautifully, so I'll give them credit for that. I think they really phoned it in on the hardware, that I had to go out and buy some better, bigger grade 8 bolts for my peace of mind. One thing I am not crazy about also, this tread plate. It is pretty chintzy, and if anyone would know, it's me, because if you've watched my last couple videos here the last 6 months or so, I've been working a lot with tread plate. And yeah, it doesn't take a genius to see this tread plate on these bumpers it's kind of cheesy. I didn't buy these for looks. I bought these to protect my investment. Bad investment at that, it's looking like. Mostly the front for deer impact. The rear would be if I actually, back up into something, because like I said, this thing is just a huge blind spot. And if I'm being honest, I like the looks of it better without it. But like I said, it's to protect the rest of the truck. We'll see what happens someday if I ever do hit a deer. Well, I think I started filming this one about 5 months ago when it was hot and sweltering out. And now we're on the cusp of winter. So yesterday I put this bed cover on it. I was going after this bed cover when I got into that little fender bender that messed up the side of the bed when I only had 170 miles on it. So this has finally come to fruition. There's your big word of the day. As if cusp wasn't enough. Kitty. So I'm pretty much done doing stuff to this truck. It's the way I want it, except I do want to get rid of the muffler and the resonator underneath there. I watched a video where a guy got like 47 foot-pounds by getting rid of those. Unfortunately, this is a weird oddball. It looks like 3-inch, but in various paints I've measured it, it's like 3 1/4 and stuff. So I need to find an exhaust shop that can handle that. I found adapters, but they are just so cheap and chintzy, I don't trust them. So I need to start looking for an exhaust shop that can do something about that. And then this will be complete. As a little side note, I went and picked up this truck yesterday. As you can see, it's an early 80s bullnose Ford 4-wheel drive half-ton short bed. Sweet. We might have as a contender to try to make the Cape Girardeau swap meet this winter. But what did I use when I went and picked it up? I used the old gray F-250. This is just more of a me truck. I don't really feel that comfortable in that truck. Other than comfortable, the seats are nice and firm and better for my back. So yeah, I've already stated this, but that truck is going to be more for long trips and when I need to move people. And the long trips would be like a lot of seat time, and it's going to be better off on my back. This will be used for shorter trips and doing stuff that's, really more work. Now, before I wrap up this video, I'm going to give you a little extra bonus here. This video has been pretty much about these 2 tow rigs, but we're going to throw a little extra something in there for it. I painfully realize, my channel has not been living up to its name of Misfit Toys, but I think this will kind of alleviate some of that problem. Now behind me here, not this one, but this one right here, is my daily driver 99 Ranger. In the spring, I found out that the frame on this, back underneath the bed, was severely rusted. I wasn't going to continue driving it. I was going to find another Ranger, which I did over the summer. But that Ranger needed a little bit of work. I didn't really need it. I just wanted to do it. Was hoping to have it done by winter. It didn't happen. Other things always get in the way, as you people probably understand. So I decided to press this one back into service and try to get one more winter out of it. Not only was the frame rusty, but there was one spot where two pieces of frame came together and were riveted together. That spot had rusted out on the bottom flange, and there was a crack running up the frame. I fixed that, put a patch on the bottom side, ground out the crack, welded it up, and I decided not to put the bed back on it so I could, wash it off occasionally, and more importantly, keep an eye on the frame in case something was about to imminently fail. The result turned out magnificently, hilariously awful. And I just have to laugh about it, but I'm going to keep on driving it. Yes, indeed, it is quite cringeworthy. I just threw this stuff together. The truck had no future, so I did not want to put money or effort into it. I just slapped this thing together out of scrap metal. I got like a little storage bin there, you can see. Trailer tail lights bolted to the bumper, and I made these fenders for it. The only reason I made the fenders, I took this on a test drive, and the roads here were really sloppy one day, and I knew the window was going to catch a lot of crap, but man, it covered up the entire window within a couple of miles. So I figured I got to do something about it. And yeah, that's what I came up with. Yes, indeed, it is awful. Now, I did want to have capacity to put some weight on this when there was ice and snow on the ground. So yeah, I built this kind of rack to hold these old cylinder heads. Without a bed, this thing rode awful. I mean, it was abusive to my back at times, depending on the road. So I decided I was just going to put the weight on there now. There's probably, there's 6 cylinder heads there. That's probably, I don't know, 300, 350 pounds worth of cylinder head, but it made a huge difference. This is where the frame was cracked. See, I put a little patch under there, welded that up. I'll show you where some of the worst rust is. I mean, it's gone right there. Paper thin here where the shackle goes on. Right there, that shock mount had rusted away and broke loose. The more you look at it, the worse it gets. Trust me, it is on its last leg. It is circling the bowl, so to speak. But hopefully I can get one more winter out of it. Honestly, I do feel kind of bad what I've done to the Reliable Ranger. It's been really good to me, and I've went and done this to it. I could have let it just die a slow, dignified death, but no, I went and saddled it up with all this ridiculous crap on the back. I'm so sorry, poor little Ranger. But on the flip side of it, I'm really happy to be driving it again. I forgot how much I missed this little booger. Rangers are great little trucks. So anyway, thanks for sitting through this long, drawn-out spiel, and until next time.
Watch out for your cornhole, bud.